Hey everyone, we are going to do this live again because look, I'm not, I'm not a technical person, but I'm definitely not a quitter. So I forgot to have my light on, so I was looking really out of whack. Uh, don't want to do that. Yeah, let's do it like that. No, well, I got all kind of stuff going on here. So want to come on. We are going to do this live all over again because it just wasn't up to par, and I don't want to look back on it and be like, "Wow, we could have did better." So we'll do it again. Want to come on today and leave you guys with the word. Uh, Today's a rough day. Can you tell? I'm looking a little rough here. Today is a rough day, looking a little rough, feeling a little rough around the edges, but uh, yeah, it's been like that for me. But want to come on today because I think it's necessary. I'm always looking to be transparent with y'all about, where I am and what I'm experiencing because really I know I'm not the only one going through things or even if I'm not going through them now, I've gone through them. I have. So I'm not the only one that has gone through it. And I was thinking today, well, actually yesterday, about the internal projection that we have, our internal projection, and how I know people are gonna log on to this live thinking I got new content and I'm just regurgitating what I just said, but I'm doing it because I left something vital out. I was speaking to how we have our own internal projection and how we see ourselves. And as we grow older, there's things that happen along our way in life that kind of throw this internal projection off. It's like we could view ourselves in a particular light and then something will come traumatic to distort that. And it creates a crack in that projection. That crack in the projection comes with a lot of trauma. Every crack that we experience in life, in our internal canvas, in our internal mirrored reflection of how we see ourselves in the world, creates trauma within us. And, I found myself having experienced a long time wrestling with the trauma that comes with all these cracks to my internal projection. I don't care how experienced I am in dealing with these cracks, because, friend, let's be honest, these cracks in our internal projections must come. They must come. Nobody is going to make it out of this life without experiencing cracks within their internal mirrored projection. Not one of us. And I found myself in situations where I just felt hopeless. I was just extremely hopeless. Like I didn't have, I'm going to be honest with you. Like even most recently, I want to say the beginning of the year, excuse me, you guys, let me tell my dog either. Oh, he's going to get him some water. In the beginning of the year, I was feeling hopeless. I was in a place where I didn't even realize I was feeling hopeless. I was having a conversation with my cousin, and my cousin had was telling me something she was excited about, and she was asking me about some business information. And I was, being me, I'm always talking business or, creatively thinking of ways to create some sort of business or expand whatever I have going on. And I remember sitting there and feeling excited. Like I always get excited when I get in these zones and I get to talking about certain things. And I began to conjure that excited feeling of creating something, but it wasn't for me, it was for her. I was helping her in her ideas of creating something, but I was catching the feeling of it. And I remember sitting there and thinking, well, this is only for her. This can't happen for you. I remember thinking distinctly in my mind, like, you got too much going on to even begin to think to do such a thing. Like I bought myself out of cloud nine back to cloud zero, and humbled myself in the fact of you're not able to do that. You don't have things in order. You're not feeling up to it. I came up with all these things that brought me down from cloud nine to cloud zero. And I thought, I've been feeling hopeless lately. I didn't even realize it until I got into a position and around someone that was talking about things that I normally would be entertaining, but I hadn't in a while because I was feeling such a way. I didn't realize that I was living in that place. And those places are called, it's what the Bible considers your Lodabar places, y'all. Your Lodabar. Your Lodabar places are your places that you feel down in. You don't really want to give it your all. You don't feel like you have it within you to give it your all, whether you don't have the resources or you don't have the motivation or all the above. You just feel like maybe you want to sit in the bleachers. And sometimes sitting in the bleachers is okay, friend, but after a while, you got to step out of the bleachers and get back in the game. And so that made me think yesterday, you know, while I was laying up thinking about some things, I was thinking, we've been in this hopeless place for a while, and I am coming out of it now. I am coming out of it, but I mean, back in January, I was really I was in that hopeless place. I was in that place where I felt stagnant. I didn't really want to do much. I didn't, and I had been there for a while. It wasn't like it was something new. I had found myself becoming accustomed to being in that place because so much had happened. So much trauma happened, that I could say so much change happened in such a short amount of time. I found myself making these spaces of confusion, fear, all this type of stuff my home without even knowing it. And then I began to think last night, wow, look at all you have created even while you were in these spaces. I launched my podcast. I launched my Bible studies. All these things I did while I was in this space of hopelessness. Literally, hopelessness. Hopeless. I'm talking about, friend, like a cloud was following me everywhere I went. Hopeless. Hopeless, friend. My mom transitioned. That was a huge impact on me. It took me a while. I'm still not over it. And just a number of things happened that just took me off of my circle. And I found myself in this place of hopelessness. But then last night I thought about it like, wow, look what you've accomplished. Even though you've been in this place of hopelessness, you didn't even realize you were feeling hopeless. You had gotten so acclimated to being in that place, you didn't even realize it. Because had I realized it, I would have probably forced myself to do something about it. But I didn't even realize it. But I still created. I still offered up what my spirit desired for me to offer up, even in the space of hopelessness. And it was beautiful. And when I tell you, I know many of you are experiencing this same thing. Many of you are offering up your gifts and they are beautiful. And you're offering them up at your lowest space in life. Yet if someone were to see them, they would never think such. They would think, oh, wow, her life is perfect and she has it all together and she doesn't struggle with anything and she has all the answers and she's this and she's that. Yet they don't know that it is your struggle, your hopelessness that is allowing you to offer up what you're giving in such a profound way that people can understand. It is your wrestle. It is that thing that you're wrestling with that allows you the capacity to be able to speak to such things with integrity and clarity. Whereas if things were all great, you probably wouldn't be able to speak with such conviction. I began to smile internally last night, even though I had beat myself up back in January when I realized that I had made this hopeless way of living my reality. I allowed the cracks in my internal mirror brought on by people, situations, to alter my internal program. And that is what I want to speak to you today. This is the part that I missed in my live that I just did because I just led with the projection, the mirror. So I'm going to break this down. Think of it as this: when you're born into this life from your childhood all the way up, you're born with an internal mirror. You got an internal mirror going on inside of you. Mirrors are powerful, y'all. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on mirrors. Spiritually, mirrors are extremely powerful. Very simple, yet extremely powerful. And you're born with an internal mirror. That internal mirror is reflective of all that you have experienced. It reflects the love. It reflects the sadness. It reflects how you see yourself in the world. That mirror is a reflection of you and you alone. And as we grow older, we notice things about ourselves based upon what we see in our internal mirror. Our internal mirror is how we see ourselves to the world and internally. It is our ideology of who we are. And we, more than anybody, notice all of our inadequacies or things that we consider inadequacies. And we take note of them. We see our strengths. We see our hopes. We see our fears. We see the things that we put up to cover these things so that we're protected as we go out into the world and nobody else sees them and brings them to light, because they would shatter our perception of ourselves. They would allow us to feel seen amongst other people, shattering our outward projection. Yet I'm here to tell you, friend, that internal mirror will not go unchanged the longer you live life. It has to be shattered in one way or another. It's a part of life. Yet nobody tells us this in the beginning. And this is what makes it so shocking. Because as we go through life, we begin to see experiences that come to us that create cracks in this mirror. They could be childhood situations, innocent stuff, that we build upon. We could be on the playground and somebody notices something about us and they embarrass us in front of our peers. They bring something to light about us that we find as an inadequacy or a weakness that we would dread another to know, let alone another to bring to the light of day in front of others. And we're faced with these types of situations and we are traumatized. Boom, a crack happens within that internal mirror. It scars that internal mirror permanently. Whether it's a huge crack or a hair thin crack, a crack has occurred. Change has happened on our internal landscape, our internal projection. It could come in the form of a heartbreak in a love situation. It could be your first love, your first boyfriend, your first girlfriend, first whatever. And you are betrayed, or you find out this person has been deceptive to you, or they don't behave in a way that you would have expected them to, based upon how you interact with them. Now you're heartbroken, and it's just a terrible situation. Cracking that mirror, altering you. Some of these types of cracks that happen to us in these projections, in our internal projections, change us forever. They could be so deep that they change us forever, friend. Literally. Hold on one moment. Let me blow my nose. Let me make sure because this video will be over and I'm like, dang. Okay, so it'll be a crack. It changes our internal landscape forever. Yet I'm here to tell you that this mirror, this internal mirror that we have, must be shattered along our way. And it will not stop being cracked and shattered along our way in life. But I want to focus in on some things that are specific to these cracks. See, it's about how you see yourself that matters most in life. And I myself have experienced these internal mirror cracks in my life. They've been most traumatic. These internal mirror cracks have a lot to do with us wandering in our wildernesses for so many years. It's getting over the trauma that comes from the crack in our internal mirror. Because all of the cracks, no matter how large, no matter how small, no matter how fine, no matter how deep, they all have something in common. And that is that they come with trauma. Whenever your internal projection is cracked, it's traumatic. It's shocking. It's astonishing. It makes you pause and really take a look at what you're dealing with. And at times you don't really even understand what it is because it's so abrupt, it's so out of the blue. You're never prepared for it. And this is what makes it so shocking. These cracks in our internal mirror, they come and they distort what was already there. Our internal mirror was already existing. It was already in existence. And then this shock, this crack, this wave of energy hits it and it breaks it, it divides it. And it creates a gap in between it, in between what was already there, separating it. And what rests within it is what we call a gap. And these gaps house energy. It is these gaps where that energy that struck our internal mirror divided it. It was so powerful that it caused it to break into two, leaving a line. That line is a gap, and that gap is energy. Whether we see it as that or not, it is energy. And that gap, that line, is the experience, whatever it is. Many of us have gaps on our internal mirror. We got so many gaps because we've had so many experiences that cause trauma in our lives. And I'm here to tell you that there are many of us that have allowed these gaps, these cracks in our internal mirrors to stop us, to stifle us from being who God ordained for us to be in this life. Because we are confused by them. We experience them and then we allow them to divert us into another direction. Blindly. Without ever taking ownership of them and standing tall and saying, well, why did you show yourself? Let me search you out. Why are you here? What exactly is going on with you? What are you made completely of? We don't do any of that. We succumb to them. We bow down to them. We go down on our knees before them and we say, what would you say I do? Without ever taking into consideration what power we have within that environment. And that is the purpose of this video, is to remind you of the power you have. The power you have in your environment is that it is your environment. That gap, that crack presented itself on your landscape. That's you, friend. That is yours and yours alone. That is not something that is bartered and given to someone else. That is not something that someone can come upon and take from you unless you allow it. These cracks to your internal mirror are there to show you you. All of us will experience them. They are to bring to light the weaknesses within you. Say, for instance, you don't like your kid and you don't like the shoes you wear because your parents can't afford them any better. And now your worst thought is to be embarrassed by Bubba on the playground in front of Melissa, the girl you silently like, but she doesn't know it. And then a day comes where Bubba embarrasses you in front of Melissa about your appearance. And now your internal mirror is cracked. That is life. That is you showing you these are things you need to work on. You got to level it up so that you can't allow these things to dominate you. You've got to be able to face yourself and accept whatever situation you're in strength, not in hiding and cowering away from it, but in facing it, so that when Bubba and the rest of the Bubbas of the world come upon you to rob you of your knowing, of your strength, they have nothing. They're left empty-handed. But what many of us do is we cower out and we allow these things to change us in the negative. We create falsehoods and buffers to protect that aspect of us instead of strengthening it. Instead of doing the work to really strengthen it, we create buffers. I've done it. I did it for a long time in my life, friend. I recall this the other day when I began to think back to I was in a hopeless place just in January. I just thought of it. I said, I'm proud of myself. Because, friend, if you would have known me in January, you would have never known I was in a hopeless place. Looking at me, you would not have known she's feeling down. She's depressed. She feels hopeless. Because it wasn't my outward projection, but it was my internal meditation. I allowed myself to be boxed in mentally because of situations that came with trauma that I couldn't control. Back to back to back. Natural things in my life. And some that weren't natural. That just piggybacked off of things that naturally occurred. Things that would never have had power had other natural occurrences happen, like the death of my mom. And I had to recall, wow, just in January, we were at our lowest. We were down. I was down bad, y'all. I'm not even going to sit here in front. I have no lies for you. Down bad. Like, I didn't even want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. But through it all, I still was able to produce. Through it all, I was able to produce. And that is my message to you. That even though we go through these things in life, that's part of my message to you. Even though we go through these things in life, we still make it happen. There are some amongst us that are producing great beauty, yet they are being squeezed tremendously. Squeezed in ways that if someone were to look at you, they would not even be able to acknowledge what it takes for you to deliver what you're delivering. They would give you an award. They would drive miles to come visit you and just to congratulate you because of what you're delivering under the duress you're under. But you make it look easy. And you're consistent. Meanwhile, you are staring the spirit that has created the crack in your internal projection down. And you're studying it. You're not running away from it. You're not hiding from it. You're not allowing it to dominate you. And this is what brings you to these low-to-bar places, because it takes so much attention to focus on them, to try to gain some sort of leverage in them. It's exhausting. It takes everything. But you must do it. Because in doing it, you take ownership of that experience. You make it serve you. In whatever capacity you can make it serve you. Because that's what it was intended to do. It was intended to make you rise up to it and meet it where it's at. And then humble it, not for it to humble you. And then make that thing serve you. You are the one that names it. You give it its name. It does not give you your name. And this is what's going on amongst many of us. We are being humbled by the cracks in our internal projection, and they are naming us. They're naming us. They're naming us as quitter, confused, distracted, lost, sad, depressed. I've been there. You must wrestle with it. And you must know, and your wrestling is all a derivative of the fact that you know this is your internal canvas. This is your life. You were born here with that. Nobody in this world has that internal mirror than you. And how dare someone come and dominate your internal mirror, your internal reflection, and alter it and make you bow to it? What type of person are you? You mean to tell me God created you with all the majesty and might and power and knowledge and wherewithal that you possess? For you to let what is normal, what will come regardless, to humble you? This came to me, y'all. You got to get to the point sometimes where you say, I don't care. I don't care, and I mean it. I don't care. I've had enough. I've had enough. I have waltzed with you. I done sidestepped. I two-stepped. I've salsa'd. We've wrestled. I don't know what else I can do. I'm tired of dancing. Now you are going to do it the way I say we're going to do it. And that's just that. Because without me, there is no gain. This crack in your projection is part of this life we live. It goes hand in hand. It's not some sort of obsolete thing. It's not a one-off. The longer you live, the more cracks you will have in your projection. It is your job to dominate them. It is your job to learn what spirit brought them, whether it's, the little boy on the playground who got teased when he was younger. What brought that on? The spirit of low self-worth. You need to work on that and dominate that. Now you dominate that crack, that gap. You dominate that crack and that gap. And you put a name on it. Low self-worth. You've come to terms with that. Whether it's the heartbreak, the betrayal that you never saw coming. Now you know there's nothing wrong with trusting people, but you must love yourself and hold people accountable and create boundaries with people. Not be so giving that you're blind and you're susceptible to people's manipulations. Now you own that crack, that gap. And what do you call that? That's love. You name that love. It is your job to own. You are owners. All things that have to do with you, you own. And you must manage it as that. Let someone else will come and own that which is yours and make you a slave to it. Many of you are going through similar situations than I'm not no different than y'all. Be proud of yourselves. The last thing you need to do is feel bad about yourself, because when you feel bad about yourself, you invite these low-level energies in. Look on the bright side. Look at how much you've accomplished. I keep telling you, y'all, you don't understand. I'm telling you, every day I have to motivate myself. Every day. I speak words over myself, and I do not lie to myself. I find the goodness to speak, because there's an abundance of negatives that I could talk about, but what good is it going to do me? I'm just giving the demons and the low-level energies food. I've done enough of that. Just in January, I was hopeless. I was bound in a circle of hopelessness. I just recently, we are in April, 3 months out of hopelessness. So I can intelligently speak to this. And I'm still wrestling with staying out of it. It's a day-to-day thing. But I'll be darned. I'll be darned. Come what may. You are the owner of your life. You are the owner of your projection. And regardless to if someone else agrees to it or not, it's none of their business. Buck 'em. It ain't none of their business. And if anyone has something to say to you about the way that you do you, you need to tell them they need to go focus on doing them. You're paying too much attention to what I'm doing. Go do you. Because what it takes for me to do me, it takes the same amount for you to do you. We're not that much different. So for you to be worried about what I'm doing lets me know that you're not really focused on you. We are all bound to this law of internal cracks. All of us. And these internal cracks look like spider webs. They do. When you look at a mirror that's shattered, not even shattered, that has multiple cracks in them, don't they somewhat look like spider webs? And when you look at did you know that spider webs are spun by female spiders? I didn't know that. There's really no real reason for me to say that, but in researching for this, I noticed that spider webs are spun by female spiders only. And they are spun in such an intricate way. They mirror a cracked mirror in a sense. When an insect lands on a spider web, how does the spider know? They get the vibration sent to them through what one would consider on a mirror a crack, but through the lines on the spider web. They reverberate to wherever the spider is, and it knows I got dinner tonight. It's the same way with that crack in your internal mirror, friend. It's the same. I just thought of this last night. Same way. When that crack in your internal mirror happens, I don't care how big the crack is. I don't care how slim it is. I don't care how short it is. I don't care how deep it is. It doesn't matter. It always comes with trauma. Always comes with trauma. It's always abrupt. You feel it when it hits you. And it comes with trauma. Same way with this spider web. You know immediately when something has landed on that spider web, if you're a spider. It's just the spirit of it. It's the way it's set up. It will always come with trauma. And the trauma is what freezes you. It alerts you. It shocks you. Yet if you don't know what to do with it, if you don't know what you're dealing with, if you don't know what you possess, if you don't know how to manage your own stuff in your own kingdom, you will be frozen by it. It will freeze you. It will halt you right where you are, and you will go no further. You will be frozen by the trauma of it, the shock of it. And you will allow it to alter you, to rewire your brain to it. When really it was put there to show you an aspect of you that you must rise up to and dominate. It's a growth factor. It's a growth factor. Something that happened to make you grow. It's like life saying, okay, we've had enough with this. You've been playing on the playground long enough. Bam! Next grade level. Immediately. Not, summer break and mom takes us shopping for school and then first day of school. Now, no. Bam! First day of school. First day of school, not prepared for it. Didn't go school shopping. Didn't get a new backpack. Ain't got no lunch money. No. And now you must adjust. The crack comes as a space that is immediately carved into what was before. Space that was immediately carved into what was before. And you must immediately adjust to it. When we begin to see these things for what they are, we take ownership of them. Friends, these are so vitally important, and I have used this throughout my entire life. Yet I'm here to tell you that there have been some cracks that have come in my life that were deep, that were so deep, they made me fall down to my knees, friend. They did. I was embarrassed to say that they made me fall to my knees because of the intensity and the strangeness of them. Pondering them for so long, and they were so deep that I had to ponder them for so long. One moment, my daughter is walking through. So they were so immediate, and I had to ponder them for so long that I stood within them for so long that it depressed me. And these are things that happen. You will stand in these situations sometimes so long just trying to figure them out and understand how and why and who and what, that they will alter you temporarily until you have a moment, friend, like I had in January, where you say, I've been in this hopeless place and I didn't even realize it. I didn't even know I was in a hopeless place. It took for me to step out of my norm and get around another and actually have engagement on a particular level that I was accustomed to, yet I hadn't had in quite some time, for me to recognize it. And I remembered me. I remembered who I am. And I said, this situation I'm in is not me. But it had become so familiar to me that I thought it was me. And noticing it, I immediately changed my mind. I immediately changed my mind, but then that feeling came to take me back to it. It didn't want to let me go. It's a battle. These are spirits, y'all. You got to know these are spirits, friend. This is not happenstance. Everything is spiritual. They need your attention. They need your energy. And I found myself having internal dialogue with myself saying, I've been in a hopeless place. I've been hopeless. And then, who am I talking to? There's nobody here. Well, you're here, friend. Or obviously. Or I'm just talking to myself. I'm crazy like that. I'm crazy like that. I get off on this kind of stuff, friend. I don't mind sitting here talking to myself. But like I said, I was in a hopeless place where I didn't even, that spirit that was there with me didn't want to let go. And I'm finding myself going back and forth with this within myself, saying, I've been in a hopeless place. And then another part of me saying, yeah, you have been. And then another part of me saying, there's no need to try to leave this hopeless space. There's no real reason to leave it. There's nothing you can do to change it. And then another aspect of me saying, yes, there is. That's a lie. I don't know how else to say it. But yeah. In a hopeless place. Any of you have ever experienced such things know what I'm talking about. But you must reprogram yourself. You must remind yourself. And all of these cracks that come along the way in your life, they bring upon these spirits if you allow them. If you allow them. But you must remind yourself. You must always take ownership of your internal projection because it's all you got. Don't ever let somebody defeat you within your own kingdom. They will use many tricks and tactics to do so. But you must always stay in the center and in control of you. And be very mindful of those that you give your power to if you decide to give your power to them. Because, look, like I was going to say, I'm going to wrap it up with this. These many avenues that come, these cracks, they must come. It is up to you to make them serve you. You. And, servitude has nothing to do with money a lot. I brought this onto my Instagram page yesterday about, a lot of times we think, I was using the scripture where Abram and God are having a back and forth, and God is telling Abram that he's going to bless him and make his seed multiplied in the earth like the stars in the sky. And God would honor this promise. And in his promise to Abram, he starts it off with loss. He says, yeah, I'm going to make your seed like the stars in the sky. But they're going to be in bondage for 400 some years, and they are going to be in bondage for 400 years, and they're going to be wandering and mistreated and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, wow, God is leading with the negative, but isn't that how God is? He always leads the children the rough side. Always. Because it makes them capable. It makes them capable. But then God says, after that, I will pull you out of that place with great substance. You will leave with great substance. And anyone listening to that Bible study or that podcast, can't remember which one it was, would think that I was talking about money. I'm not talking about money. Money ain't got nothing to do with that. Substance has nothing to do with money. Substance is that thing that you can't buy, friend. Substance is that thing that will attract money and every single thing outside of money. Substance attracts people. Substance attracts resources, goodness, favor, love, abundance, prosperity, all health, all wealth. And I'm not talking about wealth monetarily. I'm talking about a wealthy state of mind, a wealthy environment, an abundant environment, not an abundance of material items, but an abundance of goodness, an abundance of prosperity, an abundance of love. You gain favor in the spiritual world where it really matters. You have the support of those in spirit, which is highly necessary. Because I'm here to tell you that there are many demons in this life that will come as well. And you will need those on the spiritual side to have your back. And this is what substance gives you. Substance is like resin. It's like dew. Resin dew. I know you guys probably saw my post when I said resin dew. I mean residue. Resin dew. Resin meaning the sap, the condensed, coalesced DNA of that tree or that thing. Dew meaning the condensed, watery aspect that shows itself at certain times in the morning. It is somewhat considered favor. What is favor? Favor meaning first dibs on a thing, first choice, pre-selection. Favor. Favor is a thing that happens when you stay close and you align closely to God. When you align closely to God and you do what is righteous, not what is right by man, but what is righteous to the internal aspect of your heart. You align to what is righteous. So you get top priority, if you want to call it that. It's like having a relationship with God because you stay close. You always stay close to God. So God knows your voice. When you call, God answers because God has a stasis with you. It's a relationship that is active. It's not just a relationship that you use when you want something and then you get it and then you leave it alone for 2 years and then you back at it when something goes wrong. No, this is an ongoing stasis. So that you're never far away. The tether isn't long. When you call, God comes quickly. He knows your voice. That's favor. And all these things have to do with relationship. Period. They don't have to do with praying all day and all night and living in a remote area of the world and not eating meat and all that kind of stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with relationship, friend. And it has to do with accountability and dedication. What are you dedicated to? Just like this inward projection that we have of ourselves has to do with knowledge. In order to dominate that environment within yourself, you've got to know it. You've got to know your role. You've got to know what is that mirror. You can't be scared of your own self and looking within your own self. You've got to be able to lay claim on the things that are yours and take ownership of them. So that when those cracks show up, and they will, there's no way around it. You're not shocked. You're going to be shocked regardless, but you're not as shocked. They don't blow you as much as they would had you not known yourself. They don't make you bow to them. You will always get up. You will not stay down, even though some of them will knock you down. That's how much shock that comes with them, so much force. That's how much force comes with some of them. They'll knock you down, friend. They will. But you must take it as a testament to how powerful you are. Darn, that thing came with a lot of force. Because you know what? It took that much force for it to make a affecting your life because you're built up so strongly. It took a lot of force. It's about how you view a thing, friend. It's all about how you view a thing. Just wanted to come on and give y'all this today. I tell you these things because I know what I'm talking about. I'm here to tell you I know what I'm talking about. You could take it or leave it. It ain't up for debate. I'm not about to sit up and say, yeah, well, yeah, I know more than you and you don't know more than me. You can take it or you can leave it. But it's all here for you. You're loved more than you'll ever know. Anyone got any questions? Am I here by myself? The brother Sean said, who are you talking to? There's nobody here. This is over here on my YouTube. So maybe there isn't anyone here. But I see many names here, so I don't know. YouTube and Instagram going. And even if I'm sitting here talking to myself, somebody might come across this video and need it. I don't do any of this, y'all, for numbers. I'm here to tell you. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this stuff is set up for nobody to see it. Somebody might see it and it just, it might be set up in a way where nobody does see it. I don't know. It's not my motivation to come on here and do it so that a bunch of people see it. I don't. What's for you can never miss you. That's the way I live my life. I'm not thirsty like that. And them type of things don't move me when people come with that kind of stuff. It doesn't discourage me. See, something like that would discourage somebody else. Why would somebody say that? What good would that? What good did that do? But all is well. You're loved more than you'll ever know, y'all. I'll never stop saying this. Be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Peace and love. Yeah.